On this latest episode, we're going to be reviewing, of course, more with New Japan Pro Wrestling with day 3 of Road to the Tokyo Dome. As you probably know already, we are getting closer and closer to, of course, Wrestle Kingdom 20. But however, we have plenty of matches that are taking place in New Japan, and of course, this one will take place in Korakuen Hall, which marks possibly the last time that the fan base will see him in Korakuen Hall, which is going to be a special moment. And then we move on with NXT. As you know, they're on the road to New Year's Evil. A lot of things are going to be happening. We also got the Speed Tournament and a very interesting match for the United States Women's Championship. And that's going to be very interesting as well. And then finally, we move on with our last and final thing, news updates, to give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of wrestling, such as what events the promotions are throwing out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK. Anywhere where pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information has been unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got to do Nagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us and click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, enough with the jibber jabbers. Let's get started. So, let's begin with New Japan Pro Wrestling. Alright, so let's begin with New Japan Pro Wrestling as we are in Korakuen Hall for Road of the Tokyo Dome. So, as I mentioned before, we are heading to Wrestle Kingdom on January 4th, and this is their much recent event that took place. Now, we begin with an open challenge for the New Japan World Television title. El Phantasmo defends it against a very interesting opponent, and that opponent is none other than the master of the funky weapon, Ryusuke Taguchi. Now, of course, we know Taguchi. He's a bit of a clown. He knows how to have a bit of a fun. But however, sometimes his little fun takes it a little too far by showing his bare A butt. You know what I mean? So anyway, while that happened, of course, it almost backfired for him because apparently El Phantasmo overturned him. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, he picked up the win. However, of course, Yado had a little special gift because we had a little surprise visit from Shota Claus. If you guys don't know what I'm referring to, Shota Umino dressed up as Santa Claus had a little present. Now, when Phantasmo actually opened it, he had no idea what it was. He was a bit like, what is this? And then all of a sudden, he was attacked by Chris Brooks from DDT. And it doesn't take a genius. Why? Well, it turns out, as you know, New Japan has been opening the doors to New Japan Pro Wrestling recently. And now we're getting DDT guys making their place. As for Chris Brooks, his motives, well, you can guess. Well, it's the New Japan World Television title. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if this match takes place sooner before either a Wrestle Kingdom, because as you know, I mentioned that the time, the rest of the matches have been reduced up to 7. There will be more, but they want to keep a little of the whole timing constrictions for Tanahashi since he's retiring that day. So we'll see what happens. Our next match, we have Tiger Mask teaming up with Satoshi Kojima and Taichi. Tagging along with them is Tomohiro Ishii. They take on Bolton Oleg and, of course, Bishamon. And I thought the match was pretty good. I mean, there was a lot of hard hitting, all of this, but in the end, a very interesting combination was developed by Bishamon and Bolton Oleg. Bishamon had Tiger Mask in a Shota position, but with his Bolton Oleg that made the final blow to plaster him down until till Yoshihashi picked up the pinfall, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, Yoshihashi picked up the win for his team. But later we did see in the post match a bit of tension between Taichi and Kojima. Now we know because of their history back in Kojima-gun, it sets it up. But Taichi Ishii managed to ease the tension. So we will see a trio sting going on with them. So we'll see how that goes. Now, our next match, we have the current never openweight 6-man tag team champions Toru Yano, Master Wato, and Yo teaming up with Yusho, Shota Umino, and Yuya Uemura to take on the House of Losers. Yeah, Kanemaru, Yujiro, Sanada, Ren Narita, and Evil. Now, of course, when it comes to these jerk monkeys, we all know exactly what they do. They like to cheat. They like to think they're tough because they're that good. They think they're that bad because they cut lines. And that's exactly what they've been doing the entirety. But however, we did see Ren Narita picked up the win on Wato thanks to some interference. Well, they pinned them. And that would means that, of course, once again, the never open with 6-man tag team belts will be in the crosshairs by the House of Losers. However, during that time, when the losing team lost, they were getting a beatdown from the House of Torture. Luckily, Aaron Wolf showed up to deal with Evil, but Evil decided to teach him a lesson that he was going to make sure that his debut will be his last. But unbeknownst to them, while Evil was dealing with Aaron Wolf, well, a surprise visitor helped out, and that person is none other from DDT's, of course, Kaise Takeshi. So basically, he decided to fight alongside, of course, Umino and Yuya Uemura. That's going to be a lot of fun. So we may see them possibly in the Rando coming up soon. So we'll see where that takes place there. Now, as we move along, we have, of course, the United Empire. Jacob Austin Young, Cal Newman, and the Great Okan taking on Geto, Hiromu Takahashi, and Shingo Takagi. Now, as you know, Geto has been the talk of targets by the United Empire recently. And of course, Geto wants a piece of them for what they tried to do, to take them out. And that's exactly what was happening. But unfortunately, Cal Newman has sent a direct message to Finley by using the overkill onto Geto. And just like that, 1, 2, 3 is over. But however, Cal Newman has the tendency that he wants to break Geto's neck. Luckily, Shingo and Hiromu, being good people, decided to protect them. And I'm sure Finley would appreciate that with them. But however, what later was foretold, Cal Newman has revealed who was the mystery benefactor who is making headways. And surprise, surprise, it's someone from history with New Japan. And you guys know I mentioned him, and that is Andrade El Idolo. So he is joining the United Empire, which was very surprising. Even Hiromu saying that this is very low of him, since he is a former member, as you all know. As you know, he is an original member of Los Ingobernables with Rush and La Máscara. So that's kind of interesting to see. So we'll see what happens in Wrestle Kingdom. Our next match, we have Daiki Nagai teaming with Taiji Shimori to take on, of course, Tweedledee and Tweedledum. I'm talking about Doiki and Sho, thinking they're the best IWGP Junior Heavyweight champions. But we all know these guys are a bunch of cheaters and losers. That's what they are, because they like to cheat. And that's what we've been seeing. And of course, we have El Desperado and Dukai getting involved. We know that they would do whatever it takes to try to take these off them, because the House of Torture has been nothing but problems. But unfortunately, that Doiki got involved in this match in every way possible. He ended up, of course, in a Boston Crab when Daiki Nagai had him, but he smothered the referee, giving time for Sho to whack Daiki Nagai with a black plate, and just like that, Doiki pin the guy. 1, 2, 3. It was over. Our next match, we have TMDK, consistent of Harley Jackson, Rei Oyo, and Zack Sabre Jr. taking on the Knockout Brothers, Oscar and Yuto Ice. They team up with Yota Tsuji. As you know, this is a part of the preliminary match for Wrestle Kingdom, where um, the Knockout Brothers will have to defend the IWGP Tag Team belts against Oiwa and Zack Sabre Jr. So you probably can get asked who's going to pick up the momentum. Well, in this one, you would have assumed that Zack Sabre Jr. had the advantage with his team, but however, it was Yota Tsuji that picked up the win when he applied a Gene Blaster onto Harley Jackson, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was done. So that's what's going to happen. And then we did see a bit of course, how do I say, of the Knockout Brothers trying to show Oiwa and Zack Sabre Jr. who's in charge in the tag team division. So we'll see what happens at Wrestle Kingdom. Now, as for our main event, it's Kosei Fujita taking on the Ace, Hiroshi Tanahashi. But you can tell that this was a pretty impressive match. Not to mention Kosei Fujita, who was a bit more younger and a bit more young in his 20s, I think, or early 30s, or late 20s, early 30s, somewhere on there. He knows exactly what he needs to do. But however, you can't. The Ace was able to prevail by applying the high five flow onto him, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, done. And of course, it finished off with, of course, Tanahashi greeting the fans, signing autographs, giving hugs, and all that, because this might be the last time many fans will get to see him wrestle again. So we'll see where we go from there. But as of right now, we're done with New Japan. We probably will continue with more of New Japan, but let's continue on with our last and final review, NXT. All right, NXT. So we opened up with women's action. Lola Vice taking on Izzy Dame. Now, of course, Lola Vice is trying to get herself back on track. And of course, Izzy Dame, as you know, is trying to put the whole thing with Tatum Paxley behind her. Now, of course, when it comes to Izzy, you know who's tagging along is Shawn Spears. Now, there was a moment where Shawn Spears grabbed Lola Vice by the ankles to ensure that Izzy wins. But however, well, let's just say no one expected this. Tatum Paxley showed up with the dang chainsaw and chased Shawn Spears, leaving Izzy in a bit confused, like what the hell happened. Unbeknownst to her, she got back fist by Lola Vice, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, she picked up the win, and of course, Shawn Spears is still running to the hills. But however, Lola Vice was attacked from behind during the post-match by Kalani Jordan. As you all remember, Kalani Jordan was declared as the traitor of NXT when she sided with TNA. But that's how we probably will see, of course, a rivalry between those two. But if for those who do not know, if you haven't seen on Instagram, on NXT, of course, well, you see a moment where Tatum Paxley still chases Shawn Spears with the dang chainsaw, looking like a freaking movie, even a horror movie, despite the fact we're in Christmas time. Well, I mean, Christmas and Halloween doesn't mix, but you know what I mean. So yeah. Now, anyway, we did see, of course, Jordan Grace looking into the footage of what happened for the NXT Women's North American Championship. Now, some people thought there was a bit of a fluke or whatever, and of course, Thea Hale showed up and all that. But of course, Thea Hale said that thank you for believing me, Jordan. But Jordan, I think, is still trying to figure out how is it possible that she won in that fashion. But who knows? Now, Ethan Page decided to get into the face of Miles Bourne. As you all know, Miles Bourne was not happy with the fact that he did not win the number one contendership four-way match last week. So he's trying to tell them that he needs to change. So he talks mostly about himself. Now, in the ring, we did see, of course, our newly crowned NXT Women's North American Champion, Thea Hale, making her presence. She talks about, of course, her life journey, the roads and struggles, and people doubting her and all that. However, Blake Monroe showed up, of course, declaring that her match with her last week was nothing but a pure fluke. So we will see that rematch with them coming, of course, on New Year's Eve, most likely. But we'll stay tuned for that. Now, we did see an interview with Soruka and Soraya. As you know, Soruka will be in the main event, taking on Chelsea Green for the Women's United States Championship. So we'll see how that rolls up. Our next match, we have Eli Knight versus Tavion Heights. Now, of course, Eli Knight, many of you have not seen him yet. If you haven't been following Evolve, then that's okay. Then you guys will get to know him. So he is one of the Evolve people in there. But Tavion Heights was able to pick up a win. But however, this match was part of the speed tournament. As you know, they're trying to determine who will be the next competitor, the challenge. Jasper Troy for the men's speed championship. Well, it was Tavion Heights that picked up the win when he applied a belly to belly suplex, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it's over. But I'm pretty sure Jasper Troy is watching this very closely to see how things will progress. Now, Blank Rigor, as you know, is still going crazy after the loss of the Women's North American Championship. Well, she got a little surprise from the Vanity Project. Now, I don't know exactly what their intentions are. I'm sure they're trying to get her into the Vanity atmosphere, that sort of thing. But I would say those idiots should have just be careful what they say, you know. But that's me just saying for them. Anyway, let's move on. Now we did see, of course, what's going on? A sit down with Kelly Kincaid between Leon Slater and Elba Femi. As you all know, these guys will be in the main event, New Year's Eve, I believe, the challenge for the NXT Championship. Now, of course, it's no secret about Elba Femi's reputation as the ruler. He has been dominant. But when it comes to Leon Slater, he knows that the stack's against him, but he relies on his own morals and merits how to overcome anything that Obafemi will try to throw at him. So we'll see what that happens. Now, we do see Fatal Influence getting into a face-to-face confrontation with Ren Sinclair and the current Evolve Women's Champion, Kendall Gray. As you all know, Kendall Gray is the next challenger for the NXT Women's Championship coming up. So we'll see where that goes too. Now, our next match, we have a mixed tag team match. We have Skylar Faye and Shallow Hill taking on the so-called power couple, Stax and Ariana Grace. Now, of course, everybody still talks about what Ariana Grace did last time, but what makes it so interesting is it turned into a bit of a comedy routine where Ariana Grace accidentally used a bowling ball and hit the gonads of Stax and then his foot. And of course, whatever Shallow had, he gave her in the mouth, and just like that, she just completely lost it. But in the end, it was in fact Ariana Grace that was picked up, that took the fall when Skylar Faye actually took the win. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was done. Now, in the office, we did see, of course, Ava, our general manager, talking to Dark State. As you probably know, Dion Lennox is not happy with the fact that he did not win the four-way match last week. And of course, they're about to say his name, and he just showed up. But of course, Joe Hendry told him, look, I know you guys did not get what you want, but you got to think about this. We're almost at the end of 2025, so you guys should be worried about what you're going to do for 2026. And of course, Darkseid understand, yeah, it's true. But don't forget, we still have a problem with you. Now, we did see OTM. As you know, they're making their way back. Apparently, there was an interview until they were interrupted by Vanity Project. They're trying to act like they think they're tough, but the Vanity Project have no idea who they're going against because OTM, they're not here to play games. They're here to win championships, and that's exactly their message they're telling to anybody that stands in their way. Now, we did see, of course, our next match features Andre Chase versus, of course, Lexus King, part of the Speed tournament. Now, of course, Lexus King, as you know, is trying to make his name for himself, but of course, like always, Lexus King picked up the win when he used the coronation, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Then we see, of course, Kalani Jordan try to act like she's still running the locker room, despite the fact that nobody wants her there. And then she passed by and saw Miles Bourne and Tavion Heights. Tavion Heights knows that right now he was telling, man, I got to deal with Lexus King, who's an ass, that sort of thing. And Miles Bourne is like feeling that he believes what Ethan Page was right. But however, some friends of theirs had a different approach to them, saying, hey, look, guys, remember how we had that match, right? Look, you guys need to flip the script. That's what we got last time. So he was giving them a piece of advice, telling them, look, you guys may want to go to the next level, but the idea what you need to do is flip the script. And that's exactly what it is. Sort of like thinking about it. Maybe is that possible? Well, we'll just see what they will lie to go to. Now, our main event is the WWE Women's United States Championship. So Ruka makes an attempt for this belt against Chelsea Green. Now, of course, So Ruka has Zarya by her side, but of course, It'll be no secret that Alba Fire will try to stop her, or Alba Fire will try to take her out in one way or the other, and that's exactly what happened too. But Chelsea Green was able to have the referee be distracted, and then of course use the unprettier on Chelsea on Soruka, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, she picked up the win. But however, Zarya decided to give a little retribution by spearing both Alba Fire and Chelsea Green. But in the end, we did see a soul snatcher by, of course, Soruka, sending a direct message. So we'll see what happens next time. So stay tuned for that more. So we're now officially done with NXT. So let's move on with our last and final thing, news updates. Alright, so welcome to our news updates. As always, let's begin with our upcoming events here. First, we have the GCW updates for all of you, so we got a bit of a big one here. 3 updates to be exact. As you know, on the 31st of December, which is New Year's Eve, the Do or Die event, they just announced 2 matches involving this one. The first one is Vipers versus Emerson Jane. Then we have, of course, Vandal 48 taking on Matt Tremont, Ciclope, and Dr. Redacted. So that's going to be one hell of a murder type match on that one. And then, as you know, they'll be doing a one night only event on January 3rd in Chicago, and names have been mentioned to be participating. We have Dysfunction, Mr. Danger, Marcus Mathers, The Bev, and Little Sicko. And then finally, as you know, they'll be making their way to Phoenix, Arizona on the 15th of February, and they just announced Juan Manders and Ray Horace will be making their appearances. Now, we do have, of course, a bit of a. Oh, yeah, and they, of course, announced a guy named Don Freeze that will be making 4 appearances in GCW. The first one is, of course, is on New Year's Eve, which is Do or Die on Richfield Park. Then we have the Philly Crushed Up on the 31st of January, then the 22nd in Rochester, and then the 28th in Hartford, Connecticut. So we'll be keeping track on that. Now, from some House of Glory updates here for all of you. As you know, they'll be making their way to LA to make their official debut. As you know, this promotion is based in New York City, most specifically maybe Manhattan or Brooklyn. They announced on the LA show that Zilla Fatu makes his way there too. And then the following month, on the 20th of February, Andrade El Idolo will be making his appearance. So as you all know, he is free to go to wherever he has to go now. So he's no longer part of that. And then, of course, moving on, we have the Filipino promotion based in Manila, DexCon, Fast Break. It was announced that the DexCon World Championship will be on the line. The current champion, named Jake De Leon, will be defending the belt against someone many of you know who's been part of WWE and the Independents, and that is D. Brian Kendrick. And then finally, of course, you may have heard, if any of my subscribers are based out of Texas, well, you got in for a treat. Tokyo Yoshi Pro Wrestling. So if you guys are big fans of that promotion, they'll be making a way into your neck of the woods. They announced they'll be doing a 4-day show, 2 days in Austin, Texas, one in Dallas, and the other one in Houston. So stay tuned for more of that if you're in the general vicinity. Now we're done for the upcoming events. Let's move on to some developments. Now, many of you know that you may have heard, if I mentioned, I reported this recently about Anna J. As you probably heard, that her contract will be expiring. Well, more information has been told that her contract will be expiring in spring of 2026. Now, it has been confirmed that she is, exploring her options. Now, she could go to another promotion if she wants to. They haven't mentioned anything if she's going to resign or stay with the company. That's something we don't know. But she does have the right to leave. I mean, some people would definitely say she should go to WWE. Obviously, that's something we could hear about. Now, recently, as you know, TNA has mentioned recently there have been some talents that it will be ending their contracts. Well, apparently, the GOATs of tag team, the Hardy Boys, are now re-signed with TNA. And then finally, of course, many of you know this Japanese wrestler, Shima, who is good friends with the Young Bucks, who's been part of Dragon Gate and various promotions over the years. Well, CIMA, it was reported that his contract with the Japanese promotion GLEAT will expire by the end of this year on the 31st of December. It's still unclear what he's going to do next. We don't know what's his next plan. We know he's been part of the GLEAT for quite since they started in day one. But we'll see how that rolls up from there. But as of right now, we're officially done with everything. So let's call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, as you probably can guess, we probably will do more with New Japan. I think there's going to be a Hiroshi Tanahashi event for him. And of course, more with AEW. So we'll see how that rolls up. Now, I'm still considering about this coming uh, for Christmas Day. As you know, we're getting closer for that. But also, lastly, for many of you probably wondering, the 24th is my birthday. So if you want to leave a happy birthday comment, go ahead, guys. And yes, I was born on Christmas Eve. So, and no, I don't take days off when I do this channel because I like to keep going and do something. I don't do big parties anymore, but I do go out for for breakfast and dinner. But that's just me. So we'll leave things as it is. But until then, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I'm going to bid all of you adieu. So goodbye and have a nice day.